Welcome to Behind the Backline, the podcast where we chat with merchants, brands, and industry professionals in the musical instrument, pro audio, and event technology space about their products, services, industry trends, stories, and more. Join us now as we dig into the stories behind our favorite backline gear.
Welcome to episode 9 of Behind the Backline. I'm Matt Jacoby of Octave Media. Today I am speaking with Greg Burlet of Frettable. Thanks for joining me today, Greg.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to speaking a little bit more with you guys. I got a chance to talk to some of your colleagues while we were on the floor at the show in January, and just checking out your website and things about Frettable. It looks like you guys have a really awesome product, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with everybody today. So yeah, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, so my background is in computing science, degrees in that field, and also a master's in technology. Those degrees have been focused on the intersection of artificial intelligence and music. Basically, we train machines to learn patterns in audio signals. And then that sort of fed into Frettable. And what Frettable does is it's an app for your smartphone or tablet. You basically press a button, you record your instrument into it, and it'll run it through artificial intelligence that picks out all the notes that you played and writes out sheet music for you. And then you can share that with your bandmates and friends and people on the internet that can help you out writing songs.
That is really cool. And something that I feel like is very science fiction to those of us who grew up in the early days of the internet, or like, this would be great. But how does this, how is this different from like something like Midi, where you can you get that recording into the system and then being able to like adjust it later on?
So Midi is just a file encoding for notes, and it basically specifies what pitch happens at which time and when it ends, along with some other things in the Midi format. So what Frettable does is we also write out Midi. So you can take that Midi data and put it into your digital audio workstation that you use, whether that's Cubase, Pro Tools, Logic, GarageBand, you name it, whatever you use. Everything pretty much imports Midi. So you could, for example, play a little riff on guitar if you're not familiar with the piano, and take the MIDI file and import it into GarageBand and then synthesize it as a piano if you really wanted to. So we also envision it being used by audio engineers in studio to get through MIDI signals and synthesis.
Wow, that's a lot. Yeah. So it sounds like you kind of run the gamut in terms of like getting all that digital data and then being able to use it in a variety of ways, huh?
Exactly. So I think it's important to cater to a pretty wide demographic, especially when you start getting into niche market spaces like this. Just being able to give a data in a widely recognized format that people can choose then what they want to do with it. I think that's super. Yeah,
that really makes it flexible, especially with the amount of people who are doing all their own home recording these days. And I mean, if it was just the old days of professional studio engineers being the only ones that were doing this, it might be different. But now that everyone's got it so accessible to them, but they're at home recording sessions, and that's to get the quality of that's getting better. It really makes sense to make it as easy as possible to go from writing a song to getting it down on paper, digital paper, MIDI, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a really good point. Yeah, you're totally right. It used to be that audio recording was completely inaccessible and you needed a lot of money. Bands would have to go through bulk bins at Safeway and eat food in bulk bins just to save up money to get to a recording studio, which is actually insane to think about. And now, yeah, it's so easy. You just go buy an audio interface, plug in a mic, and start recording. A little bit more difficult for drums because you need so many different mics and snakes. But in general, it's so easy to record. And what better way to keep track of your song idea than putting it down on paper and having it saved up in the cloud? So that was sort of our motivation.
Very cool. Yeah, you bring that point up about drums. Now, is this something that would work for like an electronic drum kit if it's run through the correct interfaces, or is it a little bit easier to do acoustically, or is it mainly just for instruments that have different notes?
Yeah, so right now with Frettable, we support vocals, electric guitar, and brass and woodwind instruments. And we haven't yet tackled piano, which is on the slate to do, bass guitar and acoustic guitar and drums. So with drums, it's definitely going to be harder to, and I realize that you're interested in this because you are a drummer yourself, and I'm also learning drums as well. Definitely harder to do acoustically. With a digital drum set, I think it would be much easier. I'm not sure whether the brains of those output MIDI signals. I'm thinking that they probably do. In which case, once you have the MIDI, you can do some conversions to sheet music. So I think it would be much easier that way.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I want to say that it does do MIDI output as well. I feel like it would work with existing digital workstations to some degree. But yeah,
I would think so.
Yeah, I've never gotten beyond just using the electric drums through like a 6-channel soundboard into an amplifier so I could hear them like in my basement.
Right.
So I don't know. I think I may have played with GarageBand once, and I think it did do that. But yeah, when I get down to the nuts and bolts of it, I couldn't tell you if it was MIDI or just something else for some reason. So, so yeah, how long has Frettable been on the market?
So we actually launched at NAMM.
Wow,
okay. It was kind of a whirlwind. Our first day of it being on the App Store, both on the Apple App Store and Google Play, was at NAMM on January 25th. So that was the first day it was available, and we had a guitar in our booth, and we had people using it, and it was a super fun experience. So pretty fresh.
Yeah, I would say. I'm not sure they had said that when I stopped by, but just to kind of see it in action a little bit was really cool. How it was for lack of a better term, spitting out notes.
Yeah.
So is it just you said just Apple Store right now, or is it on Google Play?
It's on both. So it's on Google Play and the Apple App Store. We also have a web interface that people who subscribe to the premium service can use. And then you can upload recordings that you already have on your computer through whatever, if you use Chrome or Firefox or Safari, you can just upload it there. And in the app, you have to record live.
Okay. So does it use the device's microphone, or is there a direct input option?
Yeah. So that's a really good point, because device microphones have been getting better over the years, especially with the newer iPhone models and some of the newer Android models, whatever Android phone that you have. They're getting a lot better. Some of the older devices, the microphones are pretty terrible. In which case, I would recommend just plugging in a little USB microphone into your device. You can also do direct in audio interface. So something like the iRig would work. Okay. We're not sponsored by them or anything. That's just what I've used and what I've seen people use. And in that way, you can get a direct signal in. Also, if you're in a very noisy environment, if someone's doing dishes behind you and there's a whole bunch of clanking and stuff like that, the software will recognize that as note onsets, because it's like a bang of something happening. So it might mess up your transcription a little bit. So if it is noisy, either go to a quiet area or do direct in.
You bring a valid point. I'm going back to my idea that the more people are recording at home, I suppose your family members could be actively cleaning the kitchen or vacuuming or something while you're trying to do this. So
yeah, or your cat wants to get in on the sheet music, right?
Yes, yeah, I can imagine. There's a whole bunch of fun. I know I have to send my kids out of the house when I do podcasts. Same thing.
Yeah, super loud.
Yeah. So what was the kind of the inspiration behind wanting to create this product?
So I was in a rock band back in college. The name doesn't matter because we weren't very big.
Okay.
So my guitarist in my band, he moved away to Vancouver, and we still really wanted to write music together. He was just a brilliant guitarist, super, super creative. It was awesome writing music with him. And then he moved away, and we were still writing back and forth. We tried out email first. We sent MP3 recordings over email. So I'd play something, send it over to him and say, hey, do you like this idea? Where do you want to go from here? And he would listen to it, try and figure out what the heck I was playing, and send something back to me and change it up a bit or change it completely. And then I need to figure out what he was playing. And it was just this back and forth, tedious process. And it just took the fun out of writing. It was just so far removed from being in the same basement or same studio writing music together. And you could just really tell that there was a geographical barrier to collaboration. So that was the first propulsion into what I'm currently doing. Just being able to collaborate and go back and forth and have an idea of what they're playing. So have the original audio recording, but also pair that with sheet music, an idea of how to play it, and just go back and forth and back and forth. Within the app, we do have a collaboration mode. So you can hit the little collaboration button. Someone can write with someone not in the same location. They can be in a different country. You can write a song with someone in Germany if you really wanted to, and just go back and forth. It'll keep track in the digital records of everyone who touched that song, so that if someone ends up selling it as a jingle or something like that, there's no nefarious activity surrounding who gets royalty rights and stuff like that. Everything is cataloged. So yeah, the whole collaboration aspect is what really inspired the product.
And all of what you're saying makes amazing sense, but I don't think anyone ever came across the idea that this was missing. Because like you said, the fact that people are recording at home, there are products out there that let you collaborate, but you have to figure out what everyone did without actually watching their fingers usually it's just guitars. I mean, drums you can usually figure out from hearing them. But yeah, I mean, this makes it a whole heck of a lot easier. Pretend like you're in the same room. And I like the collaboration mode because it's almost like a Google Drive or Google Doc type thing where you have kind of a revision thing going on. Is that kind of what you're describing?
Yeah, exactly. You can go back through the whole history of revisions to a song, start right from the beginning, and then go all the way up the chain and see how it's progressed over time. It's also just really great to remember your song ideas, have everything saved and cataloged on the cloud and synced across all your devices. So if, a year down the road, you can come back to Frettable and just look at all of your song ideas all in one place. So for me, for example, I would use just the recording function on my phone, whatever phone I had at the moment, but it didn't sync anywhere. It just sits on the device. Maybe I remember to upload it onto my computer. But usually that's where songs go to die.
Yeah. I would agree. Even me, who isn't very musical, I'm more rhythmic. But every now and then I'll have I kind of think of a little riff or something. But I don't need not as being as familiar with notes as I used to be, because I have had some of those marimba and some keyboard type things, percussive keyboards.
Right.
You're I don't know what this note is in my head. And since you said it works with voice, is it something where you could actually just hum and it would still pick it up? Okay.
Yeah, you can definitely hum into it.
It's kind of nice for those of us who are writing songs like air guitaring or air composing, as you want to maybe call it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's almost like a little notebook of music, which is I can see a lot of uses for this from a lot of different people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So interestingly enough, most people in North America are pretty timid about singing. So they'll do a lot of humming or whistling or something like that. Whereas it's kind of the exact opposite in the Asian market. Just in Philippines, Japan, China, people go to karaoke super often, and that's a thing that they do on Friday night. Go out for drinks and rent a room and just sing karaoke all night. So those people are super forward about singing and love singing. So it's one thing I've noticed with the vocal mode.
And now that you say that, I have seen videos and photos of don't those markets have they're almost I don't know what I could compare them to, but they're almost like nightclubs with private rooms where you just get to rent out a karaoke room and kind of have private parties.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, you just go rent a room for you and your friends or you and your colleagues, and you just go out for the night and you just sing all night.
But you imagine if they have your app in one of those rooms, that they could just go to town on a amateur recording session and not even need to have anything.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So how long was Frettable in development, or when did it become a new idea?
So I first came up with the idea at the tail end of my undergraduate degree, and that's when my guitar player moved away to Vancouver.
Okay.
And I was sort of thinking about it and pondering how to do it. It turns out that it's a really, really hard problem that academic researchers have been trying to solve since 1979. Was the first paper that was written about it. Speech recognition is sort of similar. You know, you speak into a device, it runs AI on it and outputs text. So we're very similar. You play your instrument into it, run the AI on it, output sheet music. So similar sort of analog, but much more work has gone into speech recognition from a research standpoint, just because it's way less niche than the music market, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone speaks and everyone has a need for that, whereas not everyone plays an instrument, right? So speech is a little bit further ahead of instrument transcription. So I realized it was a really hard problem. I realized I was going to need to do a lot of research into that and read where people are in the field. So I went off to McGill, did a master's degree there, and that was about 2 years of research. And then I went back to the University of Alberta and did another 2 years in machine learning and music. And that's sort of where the intellectual property was developed. So I guess that was about 4 years of intellectual property development. And then it took a little bit longer to find an investor to actually invest in it, and then get the ball rolling, get the minimum viable product out. So it takes a lot of time to develop a product, like a really, really long time. So yeah, probably about another 2 years of programming and data collection and machine learning. So it's been quite a long road.
Yeah, I will say, while my background is in web development, I did go to college for software and found that they were totally different, and I failed at that miserably. So I kudos to you on going that far. So is this I guess, do you know if this is the first product that actually does AI instrumentation recognition?
It's hard to say whether we're the first AI to do it, because companies don't kind of release what they do. I mean, we're quite forward with that we use AI, so it's kind of no secret. There is one other company, and basically our only competitor is a company called ScoreCloud. I can't exactly remember where they're based out of. I think maybe Norwegian or something further up northeast. I'm not quite sure where they're from, but they do vocal transcription. So you can sing into the device and it'll write out sheet music, but they don't do anything polyphonic, which is multiple notes at a time, that I'm aware of anyways. And I'm also not sure if they're using machine learning or not, because I can't just go ask them. And they don't really say. I have a feeling, because they've been around a while, that they don't use machine learning, but pure speculation, no idea. So I really can't say.
Got it. Do you think it's among the first that are publicly available with this?
Yeah. So I know that we're the first polyphonic transcription for guitar that uses machine learning that I know of. But like I said, I can't verify that we're the first using AI. Yeah,
got it. Well, just usually it's like first to market wins the hey, you guys knew what you're doing argument kind of thing, versus the people who are still working on it. So that's, I mean, how does that feel? I mean, that's got to be amazing.
It feels good. It's been like climbing a very long mountain. And I still don't know if we're at the peak. You're never at the peak. There's always things that you can improve and change. And I'm sure we'll need to pivot certain things to make it work. That's the nature of a startup company, right?
Exactly.
It's never going to be complete. But your minimum viable product, you just have to get it out there and start having people use it. And even if it doesn't work in all cases, or it works really, really well and you get great feedback, it's kind of a roller coaster every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you need to get it out there and see what people think of it, and then start improving, and that's sort of where we're at.
Cool. How big is your company so far?
We're a team of 3.
Okay.
Right now, I'm the only tech-related person. So I've done all the programming and web programming and back-end programming and machine learning and all that kind of stuff. And I've partnered with my investors who are based out of Montreal, and their business strategy and marketing and stuff like that.
Cool.
And we're looking to grow right now. So we're looking for a couple full-time hires, and it's actually a really exciting time. Super, super busy. I'm perpetually tired on a daily basis, but it's been really, really fun and certainly good experience.
That is awesome. Yeah, I can relate to the perpetually tired on a daily not for product development, but just everything that I got going on too. But I'm not here to talk about me. So, well, very cool. So if someone's looking to use this, what kind of price tag are they looking at right now?
So we have a free tier. Basically, you can just download the app. It's free to use. You get a minute, 30 seconds of recording time, and you can make as many transcriptions as you want. So unlimited transcriptions. With the premium, it's $5 US a month. And with that, you get access to the digital transcription files. You can actually download them on your computer. So that's Midi, Music XML, and then you can put that into whatever DAW you use. The premium also removes watermarks if you go to print the sheet music in the app or online. The watermarks are just a couple of Frettable logos that are behind the sheet music in the background there. And you can collaborate with other people. And what other things? You can also upload existing audio recordings in your web browser, which I talked about a little bit earlier.
Okay, cool.
So basically the $5 a month unlocks all the bells and whistles, but doesn't restrict you from using and trying out the product.
Yeah, really. Do the things that you record on the free version kind of carry you over if you want to upgrade later and actually print those off?
Yeah. Everything's all available.
Okay.
So whatever you record, just if you have the free tier, you're limited by how long it can be.
Got it. It's kind of a nice way to get started and at least jot down some of the ideas and your creative bursts that someone might have. And then once you're ready to turn it into a band or something, you have a really low entry point getting in there. I mean, $5 a month is incredible for something that has that much power.
Yeah. We think it's very reasonable. We priced it low to get people on it and using it. We thought that was a way to go. Initially, just get a big user base and then figure out where to go from there.
Yeah, I'd imagine that if people love it, they'll stick with it, and it kind of gives you guys a built-in system for all that business. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, cool. So what's the website that people can check out to learn more about it?
So it's www.frettable.com, and Frettable is spelled FRETTABLE.
Cool. Yeah. And for a lot of people, they'd be like, oh, a new word to learn, because it's, people like making up words on the internet.
Exactly. So Frettable is just a nonsense word. It's fret from a guitar fret and turned into a verb. So yeah, I could Frettable it.
Perfect. It's Google did it. I think you can do it too at some point. And for anybody that didn't catch it, it's fret and table. Just put them together.
Exactly.
Well, that is awesome. Yeah, I think you guys are onto something great, and it almost makes me wish I had a noted instrument that I knew. And I think the one area I'd like to get into is piano at some point. But so when you're ready to add piano to this, I will definitely be all over it.
Sounds good. I actually started playing piano, and this was when I was quite young. And you have to understand that Metallica was really big when I was young.
Okay.
And, it was just really hard to play Metallica on a piano. So I made the switch to guitar.
I feel like Sandman just does not have the same feeling or ambiance on a piano as it would on the guitar.
It really doesn't. I tried.
It's almost like, have you seen the guys on YouTube, the two cellos?
Oh, those guys are amazing.
I know. It's almost like that, where you're taking the heavy metal music and turning it into something completely unique.
Yeah, they're much better on their cellos than I am on the piano, though.
Although you probably won't go through as many bows as they do. I mean, it's just like their bows are just shredding. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, they're playing a lot of really fast stuff too.
But imagine them using this. I mean, they would be able to. That would be a heck of a composition to see what they are actually playing on paper.
It would be, yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you for joining me today. This has been great.
Well, thanks a lot for having me, Matt. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you for listening to Behind the Backline, brought to you by Octave Media, an inbound marketing agency focused on helping music merchants develop an automated solution to increase website sales. You can find Octave Media at www.octave.media. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast in iTunes to learn more about great products and companies in the musical instrument, pro audio, and event technology space. And be sure to leave a review to let us know what you thought of today's episode. We encourage you to share us with your friends and colleagues via social media, and we'll see you next time. Take care.